Did you know for every billion spent on projects globally, enterprises lose about 97 million due to poor project performance? Moreover, the US government lost 32 billion to failed IT projects in 2017. Welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining us for today's webinar on Agile Scrum Awareness, which is done in collaboration with Exin. My name is Zach John and I will be your host for today's session. A brief introduction about us. Inventis Learning is a leading certification training provider for individuals and enterprises globally since 2014. We are pioneers in providing internationally recognized IT and technical certification courses that has enabled us to be one of the trusted training partners for many Fortune 500 organizations and government institutions worldwide. At Inventis Learning, we offer widely accepted courses across 8+ categories such as project management, agile project management, IT service management, IT security and governance, quality management, DevOps, and cloud courses. We are trusted by some of the major global companies such as Bank of America, Genesis, Alliance, Infosys, Verizon, Swift, Australian government, Boeing, Airbus, and so on. Invensis Learning also hosts webinars on some very interesting topics across various industry verticals, so follow us on LinkedIn and other social media platforms to stay regularly updated on our upcoming webinars. Today's webinar will be presented by Adamar Albertine, a program manager from Exin who has over 17 years of experience in IT service management, IT governance, and sales management. Over the years, he has achieved a high level of certification such as ITIL Manager V2, ITIL Expert V3, ISO 20000 Consultant, Lead Auditor of ISO 20000, 27001, and 9001. Adamar has developed several numbers of IT service management, IT governance, ISO 20000, 27001, 9001 implementations in Brazil and USA. He has also trained 5,000 trust candidates in official courses accredited by Exin and APMG. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the questions panel, which is on the right side of the screen, and I will bring them up at the end of the presentation. If you have any technical difficulties with your connection, feel free to write them in the chat tab. Now, without further ado, I will hand it over to Adamar to take this webinar session forward.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and hello to everybody. Let's start explaining a bit of our agenda today. So basically, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the Agile development, and then we're going to pass through the further developments and what was the impact at organizations, the new population generation, how this is related with the Agile and Scrum, how the Agile Scrum is being embraced by the organizations and corporates worldwide, and a bit of the organizations makeover about what's going on at the market right now and how this is going to impact you somehow. So let's start. So if you go back to the beginning about when the Agile Manifesto was developed, that was in February of 2001. A group of persons, they've write down in a piece of paper in a simple way what it is their thoughts about what to be agile, what's going to be the gains of the organizations, how the organizations should work, how the development of software should behave, which kind of practices should be used. But if you go back to that time, what was happening during the world during that period of time in February of 2001? If you take a look back, you are going to remember that in 2001 was the period whereby Windows XP was launched. DVD became the massive device to use for movies or to entertainment inside a house. The PS2 was over there, and also the Xbox from Microsoft. But during that period in 2001, have you heard about Agile certifications? Have you heard about Agile trainings, Scrum trainings during that period? Probably not. But we are talking only about 17 years ago. And during that time, this was common things for us. No Wi-Fi, no really fast internet connections. Notebooks were hugely expensive. The most that media would use it during the period, it was the offline media, so basically newspapers, magazines, and hardly someone will be using SMS text to message, because during that period it was quite expensive. Even the SMS, the call, let's not talk about that. The call by mobile during that time, it was quite complicated. But if I compare with the certification market, the kind of skills that were being required by organizations regarding professionals at the market, what are the main ones that was most popular during that time? The Microsoft Certified Professional, CompTIA A+, CMMI, PMI. I'm not talking that these certifications are not important or relevant nowadays. I'm only saying that during that period, these ones were the most important certifications at the market for that time being. But if you compare with the Agile Creation 2001, is there an Agile certification over here? Agile was being considered something important for that time? Definitely no. So if someone had any kind of Agile certification or training, maybe one here and there, but not a bunch of professionals, not organizations looking up for someone certified or with the competences or agile knowledge or even the Scrum knowledge or practice. But a bit later, not much, we had important further developments that if you access your random memories from the past, you are going to remember that ISO certifications for organizations became hugely important. So basically, organizations that do not hold an ISO certification at least about quality management system, they were quite out of the market. So during that time, due the ISO certifications and the importance for the market during the period, a lot of organizations understood that work based on process was the most important thing. And also we cannot ignore that ITIL became huge during that period with the V2 version. ITIL with the V2 version established a bunch of important processes that are being followed by millions, thousands of companies worldwide. So both together, they've created some kind of awareness that processes, they are important for organizations, KPIs are important for organizations to manage really well the resources and put internal controls at organizations are important for the time being. And this impacted a lot how organizations do business at the market, how professionals will behave, and of course, impacted directly your professional career about which kind of certifications you are looking for, which kind of skills, knowledge, and competences you are looking for, and what's going to be required by the market, by the governments, including, not forgetting about them. But a lot of people would say, yeah, but becomes a bit complicated during the time being because nobody knew how to deal with all that processes. But I would say that in the beginning, everybody was struggling with that, but everybody learned a lot. ISO and ITIL, they've paved really well the market and the organizations for other things right now to be used together with them and to be friends with them at organizations. Why they did that? Because the maturity level of people increased a lot. Why? Because if we compare in the past, what was IT in the past? It was a department, someone that knew how to deal with computers, with notebooks, and so on. But nowadays, can you see an organization without IT or IT without business or business without IT? It's kind of impossible. So IT is a crucial part of any kind of business nowadays. And ISO and ITIL, they're organized really well, the IT, regarding the business requirements, regarding the business wishes to drive the business to the success. But nowadays, is this enough? Probably not. So even if we take a look back in the layout of the offices, you can notice that it's everything a bit standard-ish, because everybody was working not like in a groups. They were working more in a separate way, mainly departments with other departments. But talk about a cross development team or a cross functional team during that period, it was too much craziness for the period. We were not ready for that. Our maturity level was related with this picture. If you can recognize yourself or your own organization over there, please, this is not craziness. This is the normal way to do business and to work during the time being in the past. And then during that period, agile certifications, agile trainings, scrum training certifications, maybe one here, maybe another there, but not much. But then somehow Scrum starts to pop up in the market also, and then we start to listen about some different roles like Scrum Master, Product Owner, with some kind of responsibilities over there, with some different duties. And then some people we started to relate to themselves with that role, saying, I think this is me. I think I like that. Maybe we should move towards that. And the transformation at companies is started to happen. But why this is starting to happen? Believe me, this is not too much rocket science. I will just move a bit over here. Yes. Now it's better for me to see over here. If you take a look on the table that is in front of you on my screen right now, you are going to see that we have the maturists, we have the baby boomers, we have the generation X, the generation Y, and the generation Z. If we take a look back in the past, during 2001, 2000, 2002, 2004, the most predominant professionals that were working at companies, we can say easily, they used to belong to the Generation X. A bit of the baby boomers also were there. They were leaving the market and then doing a transition for the Generation X. And what are the main characteristics of the Generation X? They really would like to have a work-life balance. They were looking and seeking to build up their own houses. They are trying to develop their own career based on the organization. They started to feel the internet or the IT part or technology, let's say, somehow everybody used a different name for IT during that period, but they started to face what it is IT during that period. But IT, it's not their native thing. They were not born with the IT, with the digital things. They learned how to use. They could adopt that, but this is not on their DNA, let's say. So to them, email, text message, it's fine. They were during the PC area, but not much than this. Of course, they are able, and of course, they use PCs or smartphones, notebooks, and so on. But during their main era, they were using the personal computers. And to use the personal computers by themselves, it was a huge, massive thing to them. But nowadays, who are at the companies right now? We have the generation Y and we have the generation Z. If we compare the main thing, the main inspiration between generation X, Y, and Z, there's a huge difference that nowadays they are seeking and looking for freedom and flexibility. And they are digital natives. They were born with the technology. They use the technology for everything. It's a simple example. For example, if I take my nephew as an example and my mother as an example, if I say to my mom, could you please open your Skype to do a call with me? Then first, I need to stop, teach her how to open the Skype, to initiate, to enter her credentials, and then to connect with me. But if I say that to my nephew, that is like nowadays 6 years old, he's going to do that without even think twice. He simply is going to do, simple as it is. This is the main difference between one generation and another generation. When I say to my nephew, we are going to travel, but during the traveling, we are not going to have Wi-Fi. The main question is, why not? Because there isn't Wi-Fi. Why there isn't Wi-Fi? I need Wi-Fi. I need internet. All the time they are connected. Doesn't matter what they are doing, they need a connection because everything that they are doing is related or it's connected with another country, with another people, with another city. So they don't know what it is, the barriers. They don't know what it is not to be connected because this is their reality that we've provided by them according with the revolution of the internet and the digital transformation that is happening right now. And this both generation that represents 59% in average worldwide the population at organizations they are looking for straight process or straight things for to do or complicated processes in order to create something? Definitely not. This is the generation that are looking for freedom, flexibility to get pleasure from what they are doing. They are going to deliver, they are going to do, but with their time, that it's going to be, of course, according with the goals. I'm not saying that they are not going to meet goals, they will, but they are not going to work as the same way that baby boomers generation X they used to work. But why this works to them? Maturity. This is a simple answer: maturity. Because in the past, we were struggling to build up a certain level of maturity to enable people right now to be more flexible at their work and to achieve more with less effort, let's say. So we've paved really well the path to here to enable now new generations at companies to have more flexible, to work in a different way, more agile, and go further. So it is that when we say nowadays about product owners that is going to represent business, that is going to be someone that is going to create things or they're going to translate business and IT um, requirements, this is quite easy to them because they are native speakers. They are digital natives. So it's quite easy for the new generation to translate something to another thing or to get an idea and to transform in a product or a service. In the other hand, for a Scrum Master, again, it's quite easy to them because to code someone based on a major goal that they have to follow and to work together, doesn't matter which kind of teams or time or places that they're working with, if they are working in a physical environment or in a virtual environment. This is what they like. They like to do their time and get the pleasure from that. So the roles that was created at Scrum, it's completely related to the Scrum and according with the agile mindset. So if you take a look back 2001 to now, you can say, yeah, there is a long period for agile to become something really trendy at the market. Yes, it does. This is the normal thing. Sometimes we create something that it's way ahead the time that we are in, but somehow there is a match between the generations that we are and the characteristics about people, what people are looking for, and of course the digital transformation that is there right now. And then I've created uh, this slide to show exactly to you the main difference of the ages of the generations and what was happening in the market during the time being. So, for example, 2001, we had the PC area. The generation Y was with 21 years old. So they were starting at the companies. The generation Z, they were only 6 years old during the period. So to them, to work and with a PC, it's going to be something old-fashioned. They're going to work with their tablets, smartphones, or notebooks, or whatever it's going to be created in the future. This is their normal. So based on these graphs, you can see what was going on, and we're going to see, pay attention exactly on the generation Z, that for example, cloud computing that starts to become huge in the market in 2006. The generation Z, they were 11 years old. And to say to them, we are going to buy servers, probably they're going to look it up for our face and say, really? Why we are going to do that? It's not required at all. But what's going to be the impact on this, on the certification, on your investment, or in which kind of knowledge you must have? Basically, comparing one thing to another, we can say easily that Agile is going to be in the market as it is, or maybe a bit different, for at least more 10 years. So if you had any kind of doubt about should I invest on Agile or do something related with Agile, should I learn this, should I develop myself on that, my answer to you is it is definitely you should. Doesn't matter if you are from the business side or if you are from the IT side, if you are from the infrastructure or development, doesn't matter much the area, because even nowadays, for example, the governments, they are using, but not only on the IT, they are using on the financial finance departments, they are using in the HR department. So Agile became more huge than it was expected in the past. Probably none of them thought about that in 2001 when Agile was created together with the PC era and Windows XP. But why nowadays Agile is being used as an initiative to support changes? Because mainly Agile is supporting companies to rethink about their own structures, their own roles, about how people should work, which kind of competences they must have. Because if in the past we used to work based on process and departments, nowadays we are working based on practice, we are working based on approach, and we're working based on competences, and according with the project per project, we can change the competence and we can switch the teams. The mindset's about determine the priorities for the business. And one thing for sure, we know that things are going to change and we need to accept that, but in a different way. Because in the past, it was quite easy to see people misbehaving because happened some changes at the projects, but everybody knows things are going to change. So let's take the best from that and rethink about the priorities, and let's go for it for that. And the main behavior that organizations are looking for nowadays is about what they call can-do attitude. It's not because something that we never did, we cannot do. Of course, we can try. If we made some mistakes, it's fine, because it's with the mistakes that we can do even better. So it's about fail to success. And then from that main picture that I've showed you before, that you saw some offices based on departments and more straight, let's say, organizations, nowadays this is the most common thing. That maybe 10 years ago, when one of these companies has started their operations, and to operate like this, we would say like, yeah, they're a bit crazy, or they are looking too much fancy. But nowadays this is the common thing. And then people can even take their animals, their dogs, cats, whatever it is, to their jobs and just enjoy what they are working, because the main thing is about to get the pleasure from the work and then provide the results to the business. And then if we have to talk about the agile expansion, up to 3 years ago, we could see IT, finance using Agile and Scrum to organize their own activities based on this main practice. But the current status is, doesn't matter which kind of department or areas of an organization they are embracing Agile. We have a bunch of customers worldwide that they are using Agile and Scrum for different segments at their own companies, because in the past, Usually companies used to have a division about products and services. Some companies used to be positioned as a product and other organizations as a services. And usually companies that used to use that was more regarding development of software, they are going to do more Scrum. Organizations that are more service providers, they are going to barely look it up for the Scrum. But nowadays, does it matter if a company provides a product or a services? Agile and Scrum can be used for both. Doesn't matter which kind of product or service you are providing to the market. Everybody can take the best from that. So Agile nowadays is being used for every single areas of organizations, not only related with IT anymore. So when we talk about Agile, I'm talking more about the business side. Hardly I have to talk about Agile in an IT perspective, which changed. But why have this changed also? We had like a new kids on the block that is over there. One of them, or maybe both, you've heard already about. It's about DevOps and Version. DevOps, it's a product at the organization or the best service to the organization. And I have to say that DevOps are doing like a brilliant job at the market, because in the past, also nobody was talking much about DevOps. Nowadays, you have like a bunch of different conferences worldwide talking about DevOps and the main importance of DevOps and certifications, trainings, and so on. So DevOps became like a really trendy, really fast. I have to say, even more faster than the Agile, because DevOps it's not from 2001, let's say, but now it's completely blooming. But also Verson came up during the past year, providing an approach to support organizations during the digital transformation and embracing the service management for the whole organization, not only IT. Because with ITIL, we were so addicted to say it's an IT service management, and Verson came up to say it's not about IT service management anymore. I'm sorry, it's about the service management, because nowadays companies are operating and the areas they are working together based on a cross-functional teams. So working by competences and accepting change and dealing with change all the time and giving the best for the consumer and for the customer. So we are talking about the whole organization, not only IT. But of course, IT service management plays a crucial role on that, but it's only one of the areas. So both best practices, they came up nowadays to support even more the agile way to think and the agile way to support organizations to develop services and products towards the customer goals. So if you never heard about this, kids, please just take a look on the Google, just type over there DevOps and Version. You are going to see a lot of articles already over there, but I'm not going to stick too much on that because it's not the main goal of this lecture today. So I will go back to the Agile, but this is an important background for you to understand why this major transformation is happening at companies right now worldwide. And then also, if you take a look on the Deloitte research that was released past year, which kind of skills are being required for this new digital era? We are talking about user experience and design. We're talking about agile structure. We're talking about entrepreneurial spirit, that is the can-do activity, let's say. We are talking about to work together. We are talking about to be more sharp on the business requirements, and we're talking about to better use the technologies that are available in the market, because technologies became cheaper and accessible to other parties. So if we compare these main skills that are being required right now, all of them, not only agile structure, are not related with agile. All of them are related with agile. It's about to think forward. It's about to use the best that we can. It's about to have a can-do activity, can-do behavior. It's about to use different process and approaches in order to support us, but in a simple way, not in a hard way. It's about to better understand the business, and it's about to develop something that is going to make sense to the consumer, to the customer, or to the business. So none of this are a major surprise for you guys. But if you are not into Agile and Scrum, probably you are going to feel some kind of lack of skills and competences to look to go and to move forward towards your career goals. So this is pretty important. The focus of organizations and professionals have shifted now to the digital world. Everything must be digital. If it's not digital, it's not competitive and is not going to be successful. So nowadays, companies and organizations, they are looking up for deliver services or products. But my question over here for you, and I already asked this before, does it matter? Why does it matter or not? I will explain to you my main question over here if this is matters or not. For example, imagine that you are a retail company that you sell different pieces of servers, or if you sell I don't know, dishwasher, or if you sell fridges, or doesn't matter much the product. And then you have a website whereby your customers access www.yourcompany.com, and then they're going to access and buy your products over there. And then suddenly on the final purchase, the customer needs to select. You are going to pick it up by yourself, or you will need to be delivered to you. And then suddenly you are going to your customer is going to choose to be delivered at their place, and then you have also the delivery option to the customer. Okay, that's fine that they have to pay, I don't know, some extra price, or it's going to be free of charge when they buy more than uh, some euros over there. And then suddenly the product it's delivered at your consumer or your customer house, or whatever is the place that they selected. Is this a product, or is this a service, or you are merging both? Are you going to be successful enough if you do not have this kind of service? Probably you are not going to be so successful. Why not? How many persons buying online would not buy if they have to pick it up this physically? Probably not. For example, usually nowadays I just open my mobile, and then I just open the app of the store that I would like to buy. Then I select a lot of, for example, clothes. Then I deliver everything at my place, and then I can try everything. And then I have like a 15 days to decide: do I like of these clothes? Do I not like of these clothes? And the ones that is not like it, then I just deliver back to them, and I just pay the ones that are with me that I decided to stay. They're selling a product. Yes, they are selling products because they are selling clothes. But on top of that, there is a service that is the customer experience processes and services that they are doing over there. So if you try to only sell product, probably you're not going to be successful. But if you combine both, probably you are going to be successful. But imagining that if they do not have any kind of customer support to support me when I need to deliver things to them, or if they start to charge me extra or not to receive back the products that I'm sending back to them, what's going to be my joy on that? Probably not much. And if I'm not happy, what I'm going to do, if everything is online and connected nowadays, probably I'm going to access my Facebook, and then I'm going to do a terrible review of their services. And what's going to happen? Other consumers, they're going to see my reviews, and then probably they are going to lose some kind of business, because we're talking about their reputation at the market. We are talking about the organization image against customers. So does it matter nowadays? Definitely doesn't matter much. Doesn't matter if you're selling services or products. You must have the service management skills over there. You must be agile enough to satisfy your customer. And when do I need your products and services? For yesterday, I used to say. If I have to face some kind of experience about it's going to take too long, I'm not going to be able to achieve my own goals, probably I'm not going to buy the service or the product from you. If I don't have a good experience for the user, for the consumer, doesn't matter the word. If the buyer, let's say, of your product or user doesn't have a good experience, what's going to happen? They are not going to buy. Doesn't matter much the price. Of course, price matters, but also the experience matters. Okay? And Do I want to face a lot of bureaucracy? Definitely not. So remember about the ISO, ITIL, and all the processes that I said before, internal controls. I'm not saying that you don't need that anymore. I would say that you need, but you need to recreate your own processes based on agile thinking and mindset. Otherwise, the bureaucracy is going to be over there and you are going to face business loss. So, comparing organizations from the past, the present, and the future, what I call the organization's makeover. Before, we used to have segregation between products and services. Nowadays, everything's about a services. Doesn't matter if you sell product or service, everything is going to be a service. And the whole organization must have a service mindset and agile mindset. In the past, teams used to work based on silos, both departmental or projects and so on. Nowadays, people are being bringing together. They are working as a cross-functional teams based on competences and for a major goal. Usually, the focus it was on the internal knowledge of the customer. It was easy to listen. I know what our customers want. But nowadays, sorry again, it's being opened again, but I'm continuing. It was easy to listen, for example, customers saying, we know what we're talking about. We know what our customers want to, but is it true? It's not better to have the customers saying what they would like to. It's not better to listen the customer experience to improve the services? Probably yes. And then before, organizations was more based on the legacy infrastructure, knowledge, and practices. It was so much easy to see organizations with systems that usually they used to call the services as the legacy services that they could not update anymore. They cannot do much anymore, but the service needs to be over there. But nowadays, companies, if they not change or migrate for the digital era, probably they're going to be out of the market. So the the trendy the trend is that legacy infrastructure and services are going to be out of the companies, and to do this migration probably is going to take some effort. Some organizations are struggling a bit about how to do that, but they must do. And then in the past, different sets of practice being used individually. I saw with my own eyes a lot of organizations creating, for example, the ITIL department, the DevOps department, the Agile department. But this is not about that. Sometimes even the organization doesn't need all that practice or departments of or people working towards only processes at the company. Nowadays, we're talking about to create a mesh that makes sense for the organization, using the technologies, the processes and practices, and the people and the resources that make sense to the organization. So every single organization, they're going to develop their own mesh with makes sense, but not with everything. It's not because something is trendy that we need to use. We need to use what makes sense, what is suitable to our organization, creating our own ecosystem of practice, technology, people, and resources. In the past, when we used to say we need to change, we are going to face some resistance from people from any levels at companies. But nowadays, change is something that we know already that this is going to happen from time to time. Things are going to change. Sometimes this time it's really fast, sometimes it takes a bit more, but the change is going to be there. And from this, there's no turning back. So now, what next? Now I deliver back to you guys.
Thank you, Adamar.
You're welcome.
I would like to now introduce Mr. Tanmoy Dasgupta from Invensis Learning, who is the Sales and Operations Manager, who will tell you more about Agile Scrum training in detail.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Adamer, for this insightful presentation. Yes, I have an important announcement to make. At Invensis Learning, we deliver Agile Scrum Foundation and Agile Scrum Master training globally. So, what is Agile Scrum Foundation and Agile Scrum Master? So, Agile Scrum Foundation demonstrate fundamental understanding of Agile and Scrum practices, and the people who should attend this program are like software developers, project managers, project team members, team leads, architects, and Scrum team members. Whereas this Agile Scrum Master demonstrate comprehensive understanding of Agile and Scrum concepts in an enterprise setup. The people who should attend this program are software developers, project managers, project team members, team leads, architects, Scrum team members, Scrum managers, Scrum masters, and team transitioning to Scrum, and so on and so forth. So at Invensis, we deliver this training in three different modes, like classroom training, live online training, and on-site training. If you'd like to know more about Agile Scrum courses, I would request you to write to us at support@invensislearning.com. Now, the trainer who will be part of our Agile Scrum training is Christoph Politovis. So let me just give a brief introduction about him. Christoph Politovis is an ITSM and project management expert with 25 plus years of experience. A trainer who is accredited by the majority of the governing bodies and one who can train in more than 35 widely recognized courses and who has already trained over 6,000 professionals from international companies worldwide. So participants of this webinar can request Agile Scrum training through either a corporate inquiry or individual inquiry. For training to be delivered as an on-site corporate training, we can do it at your preferred location. We can do it even in a virtual mode also as a live virtual training. The training group size to be minimum of 5 to 10 people. 5 people should be good, and we can do it more than 5 people also. We can also do a customized training as per the enterprise requirements, and we ensure that we provide a competitive pricing for them. Whereas the individuals who are looking for upgrading themselves, their training delivery would be instructor led. We can do it as a classroom. We can do it as an online training. There would be different choices of options for training dates are available. We can do it as a one-to-one training for customized requirement. And most importantly, the certification from Exin would be included. So you can take the certifications from Exin. And for more information, so those who are interested for corporate training should send us an email at corporate@invensislearning.com. For individuals, requesting them to send an email to support@invensislearning.com. We have announced our upcoming training dates. We have a Agile Scrum Foundation training coming up in the month of August, 25th and 26th of August. We also have it in September on 29th and 30th, as well as in October 27th and 28th. For Agile Scrum Master, we have training dates available on 8th and 9th of September, 13th and 14th of October, and 10th and 11th of November. Both these programs are 2 days training program. And if you want to know more information about Agile Scrum training, please write to us at support@invensislearning.com. And the organizations who are looking to transition to Scrum and Agile, please send an email to corporate@invensislearning.com. So if you are if you are interested to attend this training, I'm going to send you a link in the chat box. You can fill up that form and you can send it to us and you can register for this. You can definitely pay later also. The best part is once you fill up this form, one of our training advisors will get back to you maximum in 2 business days. So I'd request to fill up this form as soon as possible. The best part is the people who have attended this webinar will register in next 24 hours will get 10% off on both Agile Scrum Foundation as well as Agile Scrum Master training. So don't miss this chance to get trained and certified globally. So it's a certification which is globally recognized. And most importantly, in Invensis, we provide various other programs which are quite popular apart from Agile Scrum training. We do provide ITIL, we do provide Prince2, Six Sigma, Verism, Cloud Computing, COVID 5, and DevOps training. So do send us an email if you are looking for other training apart from Agile Scrum. You can send it to us at support@invensislearning.com. So we are coming up with the next webinar, which will be on Verism, and the topic will be announced shortly. We will send you the invitation through email. And please make sure that you register for this webinar by conducted by Invensis Learning. Please follow us on LinkedIn and other social media channels to regularly stay updated about our upcoming webinars and courses offered. So with that, I'm giving this to the host. I'm putting it back to the host, Jack, who will take it forward.
With that, we are open for questions. So you can use the questions tab on the right navigation panel to type in your questions. And if you'd like to ask a question out loud, there is also a drop-down box near the questions text box where you can click ask a question, and we can then unmute your line so you can ask the questions directly. So Edmar, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so do you see the questions tab, Edmar?
Yes, I do.
All right, so do you see that there are a couple of questions a few of the participants have asked?
Yes, can I go through them, answering one by one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So the first question that I received, what are the main famous certification that one can do to adopt Agile or Scrum? Well, I would say that if you do the Agile Scrum certifications from Exin, probably you are going to be able to do that to adopt not only Agile, the mindset, but also the Scrum practice. A bunch of them. And then the next question is about which popular framework of Agile is important and popular to adopt, like Kanban, model, extreme programming, etc. Well, there is a bunch of them, and it's impossible to say what it is the most one more popular. Each organization and teams, they tend to select the ones that they feel more comfortable. So it's not my role to to dictate or to say to you it's this or that, because it doesn't matter what I say. You can use one or another that feels yourself more comfortable. But what I can say to you is that, for example, at the Agile Scrum trainings and certifications, we're going to be tested among a lot of different Agile and Scrum practices and mindset. So if you apply for the training, so you are going to experience at least 6-7 different practices at the training. So please be our guest and enjoy as much as you can, and then you can decide by yourself which one you feel more comfortable to use. Um, it's then the other question. I don't know if it is a question or an answer or an affirmation. So please, I will read, and then if you could elaborate a bit more, please do it. Hi is more of the same like Ito, so I do not understand if this is an affirmation or a question. So if you want to ask me something about the comparison between Ito or Agile or what it is about, please type again. Um, Yes, there is a question about if they are going to access the recording of the webinar. Then this question is for you. They are going to receive the recording of this webinar?
Yes, we'll be sharing that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I restarted the PowerPoint. Sorry for that. Yeah, there are happening some things. So then you can see that there are issues on MacBooks. Apple tends to say that there isn't like issues with MacBooks, but believe me, there is. And then another question. I'm already certified Prince 2 practitioner from Axelos. How much of Agile and Scrum would I need? And how would be the transitions? Is the certification from Exin or Axelos? Well, basically, the Prince 2 is a certification from Axelos that is about the traditional way of to manage projects, let's say. Agile Scrum, it's not only for projects. You can use for products, for services, at organizations. So it's more broader, let's say. But the certification is not provided by Axelos, it's provided by Exin. So how would be the transition? Depends. For example, if you are already like a certified, as you said, as a Prince 2 practitioner, so I presume that you are a project manager. So maybe, for example, if you go for the foundation model first, and then you are going to understand the main roles of Scrum Master and Product Owner, because Project Manager doesn't exist at Agile or Scrum practices. Okay, so based on the foundation, that is the first step towards the Agile Scrum world, then you are going to feel what it is about, both roles, and then you can better decide if, for example, Scrum Master, it's your own role, or Product Owner, it's more related with you. For example, I'm not a project manager. I don't like to manage projects, but I'm happy to be a product owner. But I have a bunch of friends that they are project managers, but they see themselves more into the Scrum Master, but this is not a rule. Okay, so it's more about what do you like, what do you prefer, because the product owner, it's more regarding the business side. It's about to define the business priorities. It's about to translate what the business wants to the development teams and the Scrum Master, and to provide the information to organize the backlog, organize the priorities, to groom the backlog. But the Scrum Master is about to be a servant leader. It's not about to be a manager, but it's about to facilitate the development teams, because they need to be free to do the work and nothing else. So yeah, you need to see what makes you feel more happy, or it's more regarding your career path. Both are nice, but for example, I'm more into the product owner than the Scrum Master. I will not be a good Scrum Master at all. Um, then another question. And I'm more interested in Prince2. When you have a webinar Prince2, otherwise, thanks for the presenter. It was nice to listen and learning more about the topic. So about Prince2. So then if you have something about Prince2, please, could you please update? How Agile will help on support model. Basically, if you take a look on the support model, basically you are going to see like a service central over there working, operating based on process to support customers. And Agile is going to take place, increasing the speed and the pace of how the support is going to be done. It's about to rethink about how we are delivering the support to the customer. The Agile also will take part into the customer experience over there, analyzing about how we should treat, how can we pitch the customers over there. Even we use pitch more for the sales perspective, but also the customers support, they also play a role into the sales. So to define the tone of the voice, there's a bunch of things that can help on the support model. So yeah, it's quite nice to use Agile on the support model together with Agile. If you take a look, for example, at the Scrum Master and Product Owner trainings, there's a topic that is about how to merge and how to integrate the Agile and the ITIL processes. And then we talk about a bit at the training about how to use the incident process and request fulfillment processes regarding Agile. So take a look on that. Doesn't matter which kind of the roles you are going to take a look or to choose. On both, you are going to learn how to do this integration, how you can add value to the support. Then there is a question: where is the trainings scheduled? Which location? What are the price for 2 sessions? So could you please answer that for me?
Definitely, Adama. So we would be getting in touch with you. So you can click on the link that is in the chat box, and you can fill in the form so that we can get back in touch with you.
Okay, so I've answered that already. Then not sure if my question came through, but I'm from Uganda, more interested in Prince2. So they are asking, is the same person that was asking about the Prince2, do you have an idea about when you are going to run some webinar or some event about Prince2?
So we would be keeping the participants posted on that. So we would actually, we don't have a schedule as of now, but we would definitely be keeping them posted on that. So as of now, we would be having the various webinar
Okie dokie.
upcoming. So post that, we should be having that.
Okie dokie. Now I have a question from my friend Christoph. Christoph is over here. Wow, thanks Christoph that you will be over here. It's nice to have you here. Is it still valid to get very special certificate name certified integrated agile from Exin based on? Yes, it's still valid to get this certification, Christoph. It's still valid. We decided to keep the certification. The only thing that we are doing different is because we also accept the Version certification over there. So it's about ITIL or ISO 20K plus Version, not only ITIL. Some question. When I was in the middle of the project, if Agile fails, what's next plan to move on? Sorry if I'm wrong. Well, basically, if we're managing a project, you know that things can fail. So it's not about sorry, I'm wrong, but it's about to create a blame-free environment and know that things sometimes are not going to be so much right. So you need to learn from that and not find out who is the guilty one. So this is a kind of behavior-ish lesson or practice that Agile pops up. And then another question. Axelus has its own Agile certification. How different is the Exin from Axelus? Is there any content difference? Yes, there is a huge difference because the Axelus certification is not about Agile. It's about Prince2 Agile. It's about how to use Prince2 in an Agile way. It's not the MON worldwide used Agile and Scrum practice. So if you go towards Axelus direction, then you're going to be more restricted to the Axelus way of thinking about Prince2 and Agile. But if you go towards the main Agile and Scrum, so it doesn't matter which kind of project you are running, if it is based on PMI or Prince2 or whatever is the model or none of these models, you can use the practice and you can benefit from that. But then, of course, this is up to you. Then thanks for the explanation. The cost, guys, please, the costs. If you're interested on the cost, please fulfill the form that was said before to you, and then you can receive all the prices, train dates, and so on. Just contact Invensis, and then they are going to keep you posted. Well, okay. Thanks, Christoph. So I think that's it. I think I answered all the questions. I passed through all of them. So I have to say thank you for Invensis, for everybody that was here with us. We had like a bunch of people connected at the same time. So thank you guys for to be with us. And I hope you are going to enjoy a lot the training, certifications, and can achieve a lot from your career path. Okay, so bye to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amar, and I look forward to hosting you again soon and have a wonderful day ahead.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye now.